So if you're somebody whose first reaction to the new box was essentially,
that is one big pile of shit.
hopefully this video will be able to change your mind at least a little bit, as there's at least one art type in this box that's showing quite a bit of promise. Let me show you. So here's today's deck list. But just a reminder before I get to the deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and want to see some more content just like this in the future, or more deck lists from me in the future, I should have a mutant video and an armed dragon video coming out over the course of this week, so if you want to see those, remember to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel down below. Alright, let's jump into this deck list. Alright, so let's start off with the monsters first. First of all, we've got your Valor. This card, when it is special summoned to the field, can special summon out a Generator from your hand or your graveyard, which obviously makes it very easy to go into Xyz monsters. Also, this card can special summon itself from the hand or the graveyard by discarding a Generator card, so it has a lot of recursion with it, easily special summons itself, and makes Xyz monsters very easily. Alright, next up we have your Lopter. This thing when it's on the field can just tribute itself or another Generator on the field to summon out a Generator from the deck, which is also another way to trigger this thing's effect. Then we've got your Boss of Storms, your Ha. This thing is your pseudo-boss monster. When it's on the field, if your opponent tries to activate a card effect, you can negate it by tributing 2 Generator cards, which can include itself. And when your opponent tries to add a card from their deck to their hand, you can force them to send 1 monster from their hand or field to the graveyard. Alright, next we have the plant monster Mardle. This thing is just your searcher, just search your deck for a Generator card. Then we've got your Nidhogg. This thing when it's on the field can be tributed or tribute another Generator to negate a special summon your opponent tries to conduct. And then we have your Uganda? This thing can just banish one of your opponent's cards by tributing 2 Generator cards from your field. Moving on to the spell and trap cards, we have your Generator Boss Quest. This thing is a brand new ranked award, so if you don't have it yet, you can just get it by getting 20 wins or something in ranked, getting the ticket, and then just unlocking this card. But honestly, I haven't gotten a whole lot of use out of this card yet. Basically what this card does is it reveals a Generator monster in your hand, toss it back into the deck list in order to grab a spell and a trap, or 2 spells or 2 traps that are Generator cards from your deck to your hand. Honestly, I haven't really used it too much. It just doesn't really come up too often, because most of the time you're using this because you just have an abundance of Generator cards in hand, and then you just turn them into spell and trap cards instead. But it doesn't really seem that useful most of the time. A lot of the time you just need to search for the field spell anyway, because you don't have enough monsters to shuffle back or whatever. And the trap card I'm using is basically the only one that's sort of worth running. The other one is the other ranked reward, so you have to play a bunch more wins to get it, and just puts the field spell on field, which most of the time you kind of have anyway, especially considering this card can search for it. So this is the only other trap card, and this thing, whenever your opponent activates a card or effect, in response to a Generator card or effect, you can discard 1 card, your opponent's effect becomes each player draws 1 card. I mean, it can be useful, but it doesn't seem that useful, so honestly, I might end up choosing to cut these 2 cards. It's up to you, feel free to give them a go, but I don't think they're that great after just sort of testing them out. Alright, then we have the field spell, which is something you must play. Once per turn, if a card is added from the main deck to your opponent's hand, this also includes just during the draw step where they just draw a card, you can special summon a Generator monster from your deck to the field. If you special summon a Generator monster during your opponent's turn, you can special summon as many tokens as possible in attack position, but destroy them during the end phase. This is normally only going to be 1 to 2 tokens because obviously Duel Links doesn't really have that many zones to place tokens in. And finally, we have your extra deck, starting off with your Boss of Shadows. This card basically tributes itself from the field in order to summon out the other boss monsters from the deck, and when it does so, it sucks up cards on the field equal to the amount of Xyz materials this card had, and places those cards below the Eternity. So it can suck up cards from field or graveyard, and it can be any card. It can be spell and trap cards, field spells, monsters, whatever you want. You can suck up basically generally 2 cards from your opponent's field or their graveyard, stick them below this card. And this is non-target suck up removal. So it's not destruction, so your opponent's immune to destruction, don't have to care about that. Your opponent's immune to targeting, don't care about that. You're just going to suck it all up and stick it below this card. Very powerful effect. Alright, this card when it's on the field, its effect isn't that great. It basically just makes both players draw 1 card, then both players choose a card to put below this thing. Not that powerful an effect. Most of the time it's just to try to boost this card's attack or potentially trigger the field spell or something. It's not, or trigger even this card's effect, but it's not really that relevant. Most of the time you're just doing it to attack boost this thing so your opponent can't beat over it. That's about it. So today I've got 5 replays to share with you guys, and honestly, I think you're going to really enjoy these, especially if you're someone like me that came into this box thinking, this art type just isn't going to function very well, the field spell doesn't have enough zones to summon tokens to and summon your boss monsters to, it's just not going to function basically whatsoever. Turns out, you don't need those tokens as much as you think you might. This deck is fully functional without them, it summons a ton of things to the field, it sets up a bunch of disruption, it is just honestly a really solid deck list. Now, whether or not it's going to be a top tier deck list, that's a different story, but hopefully, if you're someone that just thinks this deck is completely unfunctional, it's going to be complete poop, after watching these replays, they should change your mind somewhat. It may not be a top tier deck list, but my god can it set up a decent field. Let me show you. Alright. It also has actually honestly, I thought this deck would be very bad going second as well, but the skill being able to search for any of the Xyz cards is actually really solid. Things that can just remove back row, things that can suck up your opponent's cards, things that cannot be responded to if your opponent's playing an Xyz deck. It's just a really solid going second deck, and going first sets up plenty of disruption, so yeah, let me just show you. So we're up against Tachyon first. Not the most solid deck nowadays, but the whole point isn't really to show off his deck, it's to show off what my deck's doing. Alright, so starting off with the Plant Monster. Plant Monster searches for the level 4. You'll notice I just normal summon this, by the way, because the skill gives you a free normal summon of a level 9. Then I do my actual normal summon. Tributes itself off, summons the Fire. Fire can revive a card from grave or from hand. These two become your boss monster. Activating the field spell and passing the turn. Alright, my opponent draws a card for turn because of the field spell. Oh no, just for the... Then, not because of the field spell, he just draws a card for turn. Then the field spell triggers, summons the big dude to the field, and of course summons a token. Alright. So my opponent's going to try to activate Nebula in hand. I'm going to chain this to it to negate it by tributing 2 Generaider monsters, which will also free up my field for this card to summon 2 cards to the field. So tributing these 2, negating the card in hand, chaining this to swap it out, summoning this card, Red can then summon the big water dude from hand, which is a special summon negate as well. And the second my opponent gets 2 monsters on field, I'm going to chain the boss monster. The boss monster's going to tag himself out, summon out the big guy, and the big guy, when he summons the field, because of the boss monster's effect, will suck up any cards on the field. Any 2 cards, based on how many materials this card had below it, which is 2, can suck up any cards on the field, including back row or front row, field spells, whatever, or monsters of course. Suck him up, and he just gave up. Even if you had another summon from there, we had a special summon negate on the field with the water monster, so... that was a shit ton of disruption, and we summoned a whole bunch of monsters to the field, which was pretty decent. It's also important to note this deck has got a bit of follow-up too, especially if you summon back, because in that replay specifically, I summoned the water monster from hand. But you could also use the Xyz monster on field to send that little plant monster from below it into the graveyard, then summon that back from the graveyard, which searches your deck for a spell and trap card. Then the red monster in graveyard can discard from hand to summon itself back to the field from the grave. So there's plenty of follow-up in here as well if you're worried about a bit more of a grindy sort of a game. Just because this card can summon itself back from graveyard. Hopefully everything I said there made sense. I kind of, we're not used to using the card names yet, so I'm sort of going by their colors, where this one's just the red one. Alright, up against Shadow. So this guy didn't really set up the optimal Shadow infield. He sort of set up a load of crap, honestly. So I'm going to use Crow on this card before he does his normal summon. That way if he wanted to normal summon and flip it for a search, he's not going to get to. Alright, Dyson Sphere, going to be placing the Dyson Sphere on the field. Going to flip it face up. Oh my god. I'm so not used to seeing this animation. Alright, I'm now going to normal summon, using the Xyz import to suck up his card. It's also cool to note this deck has 2 normal summons, which means even under Winder, you have actually got ways to summon some things, because you can just double normal summon, but you can only normal summon level 9s or higher as your second normal summon, so you can't double summon 2 level 9s and do an Xyz summon, that doesn't work. But it's kind of cool that you can just summon a big guy, even if you're under Winder. But yeah, we're just going to suck up his Winder here. Normal summon this dude, tribute it off, summoning the red, red's gonna revive, these 2 make your Shadow. Shadow can then just suck up my opponent's 2 cards, and he's just gone, so... I probably should have gone to battle phase first there in case he had Nibiru, but yeah. Alright, up next is another Shadow player. I think this guy played a little bit better. But I think we might have gone first here? Can't remember. Oh no, I think we did go second here actually. Never mind. Alright. And this shows off 2 of the Xyz cards actually, because I think I opened one. Alright, we've got Xyz import, and we're going to search for the Xyz back row mover as well. I didn't even know that there was an Xyz back row mover until today. I believe it actually kills all set cards, so I think that includes like his face downs too. Yeah, destroy all set cards. This actually destroys face downs as well. This can be useful against Shadol since they set cards face down. It does trigger their effects, but it's pretty decent. Alright, so fast forward his turn. We don't really care about Shadol stuff. Alright. So once again, placing the Dyson Sphere, grabbing a card to hand, grabbing the Xyz Burst, flipping it face up, which he's going to have to remove this instantly, otherwise I'm just going to nuke his entire field, basically, since his entire field is set right now. So yeah, force out the Reincarnation. Going to be banishing my card. We're going to suck up his Winder in the meantime. Alright. And now hopefully he hasn't got anything too annoying. If he'd sent like one of these to the graveyard with the trap card, that might have been basically game over. Sign boss, sign level 4. These 2 make shadow. Now we can use the nuker. He's going to summon use Shadol Fusion in response. App Cologne. The fact this card is a quick effect is so strong, because it means if your opponent tries to target it with something, like this guy tries to do right now, you can just dodge it. You say, nah, I'm good. I'll just ignore that shit. Suck up his monster. Then to gain a little bit more attack, I can get my opponent to draw a card, suck up 2 cards. Again, probably should have done some battle phase so I was safe to Nibiru, but yeah. Alright, we have a final 2 replays. We have a Live Twin and a Hero. So hopefully you've gotten the general gist of this deck though. Pretty much you do mostly the same sort of stuff every game. It's just the stuff you summon to the field and the Xyz cards you search for just depends on whatever matchup you're in. It also depends on what tech cards you want to run, because I chose to play the 3 different Xyz cards. Realistically, I didn't play like any Utopias today, so maybe you don't need the Xyz, whatever it's called. This one, Xyz, this one. I'm playing this for anti-Utopia, but you don't really need this if your opponent isn't playing, if you're not coming across Utopias very often. Just crowing a Live Twin player, because that will make him very sad. Alright, Dyson Sphere, grabbing the Burst. Got it. Burst is... These cards are just nuke back row. Ever since the Resonator uses theirs a lot, I've gotten so much more respect for them. These cards are so bad, but because of the skills just putting stuff on field, it actually makes them really good. Yeah, force out back row, otherwise he just gets hit by the Burst, so he's kind of forced to. Summoning this card back, these 2 make shadows. Shadow, just gonna suck up his stuff. Sucked it up. He didn't even use it. I think he didn't realize that I could target his back row, because he didn't even like... He just didn't even bother. He's like, ah, whatever. Suck up, and he's gone. Yeah, these 2 are one hell of a card. Alright, final replay verse, Hero. I think this guy had the full setup too, or was I going second? I don't know if I was going first or second in this one. 1 second, alright. I think this guy had the full setup. Alright. Haven't gotten much use out of this card yet, but I feel like you should probably be playing it anyway, just as like a potential banish effect, if you need a banish effect. Haven't got much use out of it yet though. Alright, so fast forward him a little bit. Doing your typical hero stuff. He actually searches for this, but spoiler alert, he doesn't summon it for some reason. He summoned this with the 2 dudes, which means he could tribute this off for a hero monster, and then summon the dude from hand, the Winkaribo. But instead he decides he wants to keep this on field for some reason, and just leaves the Karibo on hand. I mean, sure, whatever. One less monster popping thing for me to deal with. I guess he's wanted a card in hand to discard for, but he's only got the Super Poly on field. And never mind, this guy didn't set up the full field, but anyway. Yeah, so this guy set up more than this. This guy's end field was a little bit trash. Dyson Sphere coming out. Doesn't do anything about it, so Xyz Burst, forcing out the back row. And a great Tornado. Popping his MST as well. Now he's got absolutely F all left, so I can just normal summon dude, normal summon other guys, summon this dude, revive back, activate field spell, make the Xyz. And Xyz can give him the good suck as well. And sucking up from hand as well. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's replays. Hopefully you guys enjoyed them. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. There should be some more videos tomorrow. I think tomorrow's going to be the Armed Dragon video, and the day after will be... That's another one I wanted to do a video on. Armed Dragon and Mutant? Mutant's looking a little bit suspicious, but hey, I tried this deck and it seemed alright, so maybe Mutant is okay as well. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. See you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob? Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis. Oh.